Hello guys, welcome into the channel. I am revived. I hope all of you are doing well today. And a lot of you looked at the comments from yesterday's video. A lot of you are relating to the sheer exhaustion mentally and physically. Whew, yeah, like no shit. It's funny, I read one of the comments and there's always got to be one, right? And they're like, well, you talk too much. Well, don't watch then. That's pretty simple. I share my experiences. I share what I'm going through so that you feel less alone, because what I want most on this journey is for people to feel like they're a part of something, for people to feel like they have a community. I know what it feels like to feel like you're alone, and it's awful. I don't want anybody to feel like that on this journey. So when I share what I'm going through, whether it's ascension symptoms or pieces of my own journey with my counterpart, being a twin flame, being a star seed here at this time, it's to help. Anyway, putting that shitty comment aside, let us take a look into the divine feminine's world today. And what's coming up, I feel, for the feminine right now is you thought I would fail, but I'm rising, right? You thought you were going to watch me sort of squirm and struggle and suffer, but instead I rose to the occasion. So I want to see what the divine feminine most needs to understand and comprehend at this time. We're going to use some cool decks. We're going to use the Sacred Rebels deck. This is like one of the coolest decks I think that I have. I'm sure there's cooler ones, but this is it's a unique deck, unique drawings, just unique meaning, unique everything. And then I also was guided to pull out the Beyond the Maria deck. All right, so we're gonna get started. I think I'm gonna do another extended. I don't know if it'll be this reading, we'll see, or another reading, but you guys seem to really enjoy that over on Patreon. So I will start doing some more extended readings. As long as I have my energy, guys, I'm gonna work on posting more over on Patreon. My energy has been zapped for like the past year and a half. It's been a struggle. So what I did was I posted quality instead of quantity, but I'm hearing you, and I've heard some people say I'd like you to post more. So I will work on that. I'd like to be able to create a schedule where, let's say, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you know, for the different tiers, you can expect something. You can expect whether it's an extended reading, whether it's the new moon, full moon readings and energy reports, whether it's twin flame reading, whatever it is. I will, or an astrological transit. Those are my favorites to write about. I will work on that. Okay. So I hear you. Thank you for your input, and I will work on that. And what else? I think that's about it. If you want to check out my website and what I have to offer, you can do that at the description box below. And let's get started. Let's do a deep dive into the divine feminine. I want to just kind of get you a little closer. That's better. Okay. All right. So we will start with, we'll set these aside for a moment. We're going to start with the more classical decks here. I don't know that Sacred Forest is a classical deck, but it's one that I'm using at this present time in private readings and for these collective readings. All right, so let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look into the divine feminine's world. What do we most need to know at this time? What do we most need to know at this time for the divine feminine? What do we most need to know at this time? Lost in space, needing direction. What's happening right now is in the readings I'm doing, I'm getting cards from these decks that I've never pulled before. So I've never actually seen this. I mean, I've seen the card when I first got the deck, but I've never actually pulled this card in a reading. So yes, you could feel, okay, let me first say this. I started this reading and I deleted it. And I started it, and the title was going to be, what I was going to talk about was feeling detached from your life, feeling detached from reality, feeling like an outsider looking in. And it's interesting just watching two squirrels chase each other outside. I wonder if there's a meaning to that. It's like the DM chasing the DM. That squirrel being chased, by the way, could not have been running faster on the electrical line. So if that's any indication of what's happening in the connections right now, that DF is hauling ass away from the DM. I'm sorry, but it's just, the roles have reversed in such a powerful way. I never thought the DF would be running that fast, but she is, he is, okay? All right, so let's take a look here. Lost in space, yeah. So if you feel like you're an outsider looking in, if you feel like things are not making sense right now, if you feel like, you know, there's kind of this, I talked about this in a reading maybe a month or so ago, where you feel like you have cabin fever on Earth. Like, I just want off this planet, please. I want out of this matrix. I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too much. And it gets to the point where it's like everything that you're going through feels exhausting. Brushing your teeth, right? The everyday, like, humdrum parts of your reality in your day. It's like, God, that's exhausting. Brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, feeding myself, what to eat, putting on pants, right? Like, I put on pants the other day and I was like, yes, I put on pants. Because I was so exhausted that they took all my effort and energy just to put on pants. So this is something that we are going through. And as we call it ascending, right? We've given a term and a label to it. As we're ascending, as we're changing, as we're shifting, expanding, growing, as we are understanding deeper what is happening on this planet, why we came here at this time, we are evolving. But that can often feel like you feel lost and you feel like you're just spinning. You feel like you're not anchored to anything. You could feel very untethered right now, Divine Feminine, to your life, to your relationships, to your family, to just your identity. We're still moving through that identity shift. You could call it an identity crisis. It's more like an identity evolution, an identity shift. And this is not something to take lightly. Earth feels foreign right now in many ways. It's because we're remembering who we are. And we're remembering that we are not our personality. We are not our birth chart. We are not any of the labels that we've been given. We're not this body. We're not our thoughts. And as we get to this place of just untethering ourselves to all of these labels, we find ourselves sort of feeling like you're spinning out of control. There's a lot of heightened anxiety as the Schumann resonance continues to spike. I mean, it's just like every time I look at it, we haven't seen the likes of this before. It's like, okay, it's just spiking higher and higher and higher. We are feeling those. We're feeling those electromagnetic storms here on Earth. We are affected by 5G. Okay, I'm sure there are naysayers and people who will argue that's fine, but we're affected by it. We're affected by Wi-Fi. We're affected by all of these signals. They're disrupting our chemical signals in our brain. And, you know, one thing that's really helped is I was working with my healer, an incredible healer last night, and he said, turn off your Wi-Fi. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night. You turn it off, and then not only do your pets, you know, it helps them calm down and sleep better. I slept like a baby. I hadn't slept that good in a long, long time. Turn off the Wi-Fi. It disrupts your brain chemistry. It disrupts the signals in your brain. It disrupts your nervous system. That's another thing. Your nervous system might feel like it's on high alert right now. All these things can cause you to feel like you're just spinning. You're spinning your wheels and you feel like, I'm not really getting anywhere. Recognize that you're not lost, Divine Feminine, and recognize that yes, you might need to get grounded right now so that things seem more manageable, but don't let the distortion of what's happening out there, what's happening, you know, in the matrix, distort you. Know who you are. Yes, you're being morphed into another version of yourself. We are literally being changed from the inside out right now. I don't know how many of you know, I'm guessing a lot of you have probably heard, even just in passing, that our carbon DNA is changing to this crystalline structure. And I'm sure there are experts. I'm not an expert on that. I'm sure there are experts on that. But the density that we have felt, that's what we're releasing right now. That's why the tears are flowing. That's why all these emotions are coming. The fears, right, are coming to the surface. The insecurities, the not good enoughness, all of this stuff is coming to the surface. All the times you've judged yourself or judged others or others have judged you, that's all coming out right now. Loneliness is big right now. I'm sharing these things so that you guys understand. There's a baseline of understanding of why I'm feeling this way. All right, let's get another card here. Look at this, protecting the future. This is another card that I don't think I've ever pulled. Dragon's Hoard, protecting the future. There's keys here. And there's a dragon, and then it's like a semicircle here. And it looks like a light, and there's a key, and there's a heart on it. Protecting the future of humanity. Like, this is what we're doing right now. So if you feel lost, if you feel aimless, if you feel like you don't have direction, I feel directionless, I don't know, I'm just spinning. I don't know what I'm doing. Every day feels the same. Every day feels like it blends into the last one and the next one. And that's sort of the energy of summer anyway, especially if you live in a place where it's hot, you know, for summer. It's like every day sort of is the same in that respect. We have to work hard to differentiate. This is about our legacy, right? The true abundance, true riches, the legacy that we're leaving here on earth, guys. You see the jewels, right? You see there's jewels here. I don't know if you can see, there's jewels, precious objects that are being protected here. Those precious objects are the children, the animals, the nature, our future selves. It's protecting what we are creating. This is a rich opportunity to protect what is yours, what is ours, okay? If you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna put on a light here. I don't know. It's funny because it's not cloudy out, but it got really dark here. So I hope that looks like it's giving you a little more light here that you're able to see. And we understand that this is about, it's about protecting biodiversity. It's about protecting the planet. It's about protecting our bodies, protecting our minds, right, from mind control. But it's also about protecting future generations. What we're doing right now has a domino effect, a ripple effect through time and space for future generations. I don't think the divine feminine realizes how important he or she is on this planet right now. You are the epitome of this protection. You're the epitome of strength. You're the epitome of courage. You're the epitome of growth and evolution. You are it right now. We are the keys. We hold the keys to the future. We are the keys to the future. We are the ones unlocking the code. We have to remember who you are first. You know, who's going to bear the fruit after we're gone? Who's going to carry on the traditions? Who's going to continue the healing process? We have to teach those people, those young ones who come after us, to protect the legacy that we've left. We are the ones that this earth has been waiting for. We are it. So this is a time for the divine feminine to be bold, to take action, to lead with her heart, the heart being the most powerful muscle. Having the opportunity to be a part of this, absolutely divine. So if you're feeling lost, reach out. The opposite of any sort of addiction is connection, not sobriety, connection. If you're feeling lost, connect to nature. If you say, I don't have any friends, I don't have any family near me, I'm all alone, I work from home, you know, whatever it is, volunteer, be out, go to a coffee shop, right? Go outside, make friends, join a fitness club, put yourself out there, divine feminine, because I feel like the divine feminine's been hiding for for a long time. In hiding, you have hidden your true self. It's time for us to show our faces again. It's time for us to put ourselves out there again. And I'm not talking about dating. I'm talking about in life, being active in life. Ten of Swords, it's the end of a difficult phase, the end of a difficult cycle, Divine Feminine. Embrace this change and expect things to get better. This is about recovering from an addiction. It's interesting that I was called to say, you know, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. Some of you might be healing from an addiction. It could be an addiction to your divine counterpart, an addiction to knowing what they're doing, an addiction to their karmic partner, an addiction to sex, an addiction to love, an addiction to food, an addiction to anything. You know, there's several different mannerisms in which an addiction will play out, depending on that person's brain chemistry, depending on life circumstances, all sorts of things. But, you know, Ten of Swords tells me we're at the end. It's the 10, we're at the end of something. Next, we move on to the Ace of Swords, brand new beginnings, new thought processes, new perspectives, fresh energy being infused into the Divine Feminine's life. The Ace of Swords, you know, the Knight of Swords, if you look at all the knights, the Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the deck because he carries with him the energy of air, wind, power, speed, velocity. So the Ace of Swords has that power and that speed and that agility as well. So after the Ten of Swords, we turn the page and we find the Ace of Swords. Or we go through the court cards, right? Page, Knight, King, Queen. But putting those aside, in the minor arcana, the next card is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords comes in. It clears our mental space so that we can see things from a different perspective, so that we're seeing things more clearly. We're seeing things properly, truthfully. We're able to be more honest with ourselves, more honest with others, because it does feel a little bit like we haven't been able to see clearly. You may even been having physical eye problems where your eyes have been itchy, or your eyes have felt like they're sealed shut, or you just feel like I can't fully open my eyes. It's because it's the body responding to the fear, the collective fear of, I don't really want to see what's happening out there. I don't really want to know. So it's taken a toll on our nervous systems. It's taken a toll on our stress levels. It's taken a toll on our hearts. It's taken a toll on our minds and our bodies. But this is signaling that you don't have to carry this burden anymore by yourself. We are meant to be a team. We are meant to be partners in this, all of us. That's why I always give the vision of the rowboats being rowed, all of us. Nobody's ahead, nobody's behind. Some people might be in front temporarily. Some people might be to the side or in back temporarily, but we're going to switch positions because we get exhausted, we get worn out. So there will be people who say, okay, I feel good today. I'm volunteering. I'm in the front and I'll be rowing and we'll be following. And then you'll be the leader and other people will be following. Okay. It's never like, I don't see it as people are ahead and people are behind. We're all leaders. We're all followers. And in this process of moving this planet to a higher dimension, getting us out of this dense 3D, it's going to take time. It's going to take us coming together. One person can't do this. We have to come together. This is why it's so frustrating when friends and family aren't awakening, right? When you're like, God, I wish I could just shove them into their awakening. I wish I could just open their eyes for them, but you can't. People have to learn on their own, in their own time, in their own way. And it's humbling. And we learn that because we try to push and force. I'm vegan, mostly. I've gone back and forth being pescatarian and vegan, but currently vegan, currently plant-based. I actually prefer plant-based, whole food plant-based. And I was that annoying vegan. Oh, you're not blah, 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 blah. Nobody wants to hear that. I don't think I turned a single person vegan by being the annoying vegan, by being the one who was trying to force people or put people into the box that I wanted them to be in. However, what I did is I just became a like a vision. I just, people started to ask me questions and they were curious everywhere I went. And they still do, because I'm like, oh yeah, people eat differently. This is just how I choose to eat. And they'll go, well, what made you? And well, how do you eat? Well, I've thought about it, but I don't know how to transition. I'm like, oh, cool. Let me share some cookbooks with you. Let me share some recipes with you. And then people start to get curious. And then on their own, they decide if that's their path or not, because I just lead by example now. There's no need to force or push. People don't like that. I wouldn't like that. If someone tried to force me to eat meat, I'm never going to eat meat. I haven't eaten it since I was 3. I never really ate it in the first place. I've never eaten red meat. I will never eat it. So if someone tried to force me, I'd be annoyed too. I'd be pissed off. So the way in which we lead others through this ascension process is through example. It's not through force. So the 10 of Swords. All right, Divine Feminine, this is good news. So what comes after the 10 of Swords, Spirit? What is coming after the 10 of Swords? The 10 of Cups. Interesting. So it's like we had to go through this heartbreak. We had to go through this betrayal. We had to go through the triggers with the counterpart, just the karmic relationships, guys, that, leave, energetic daggers in the heart, in the solar plexus, right? In the third eye. We had to go through that to find our 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is it's a full circle energy. You've come full circle. You've been through the rough patches. You've been through the 4 of Cups, the boredom, discontentment. You've been through the 5 of Cups, crying over spilled milk because things didn't work out the way you wanted. The 6 of Cups, nostalgia, longing. 7 of Cups, indecision. 8 of Cups, walking away from something. It's like we've been through all of that. First, we have the 2 of Cups, right? The union. Then it's like, and then the separation. It's like the cups. The Suite of the Cups sort of tells a story of the divine counterparts in many ways. We've been through all of that, and now we get to experience emotional fulfillment, something that feels like a reward to us. I don't know in what form this is going to take for you, because this is just a collective reading. Okay, it's a reading from thousands of people, but there's a transformation that's taking place within relationships at this time, and it's because there's this energy of, it's like cause and effect. You're walking away from something, unburdening yourself, freeing yourself, which is opening your heart, which is leading you down the pathway to find true love. However you define true love, whatever your story is. Okay. So we're going to introduce the Sacred Rebels deck. Sacred Rebels it is. Cards do we have here? Bring it into form. She feels, she knows. Trusting your intuition, trusting your feelings, trusting the gut hunches. I love this card. This is my favorite one in the deck because she's leaving her footprints where she goes. She's leaving her mark. And I think that really speaks to the Dragon's Hoard, protecting the future, leaving your mark, leaving your legacy wherever you go. You leave a footprint, Divine Feminine. You leave a mark. Your presence is etched into the memories of people that you've come across, simply because you're you, not because you're trying to be something. You just are. And your very presence has an effect on people, especially on the counterpart. Once you meet your counterpart in the flesh, once that is activated, there is no tearing that apart or tearing that down. There is no forgetting about the counterpart, right? How many times have you tried to forget? It's not going to happen. Your counterpart is with you. You're stuck with each other for life. That counterpart is designed to activate you and trigger you, even when you're in physical perceived separation. This counterpart, which is you, just you, like that really takes the longing away. It's just me. Why am I longing for myself? I'm right here. I'm right here. I don't need to long for myself. So I chose to incarnate in two bodies at the same time. What could be fucking weirder than that? Aliens? UFOs? What could be weirder than incarnating? Having two incarnations simultaneously, not parallel universes, but in the same universe at the same time. And then you meet that person, you meet that other self, and you're like, what the fuck, right? What is actually going on here? But you have the capacity. You brought this into form. You brought those versions of yourself into physical form here. There's so many possibilities, guys. Endless, abundant possibilities exist in this multiverse. So you see so much light here, the sparkles of light, the twinkles of light surrounding her. I also see the element of water, the element of healing the past, heal the present, then therefore heal the future. You are being tasked with really activating that sacral chakra energy, that creative energy, becoming the empress, becoming the creator, using that fertile brain of yours and that fertile heart to imprint yourself upon the world. This is like, don't just dream, create. Don't just think about something. Bring it into form, bring it into creation. Make it so you can physically touch it, feel it, smell it, taste it, sense it, hear it. This is about honoring yourself, Divine Feminine, to finish something. Because I don't know about you guys, but for a lot of Divine Feminines, if you weren't fully rooted in your masculine energy, it might have been hard for you to complete a task or finish something that you started. Now that we're more balanced and aligned with both the masculine and the feminine, this is less of an issue. But I think in the past, this was challenging for the feminine. So it's like you might have been thinking about writing a book or starting to pick up painting again, or dancing, or joining this group, or doing this, or making an impact or a difference, but then you never did it. But now this is the card that's saying, do it. Do those things, right? Don't make a flow chart about it. Feminine, do it. Don't worry about how it's going to work out. Just trust the universe has your back. The universe loves someone who's daring, someone who's courageous and bold, someone who just says, you know what? I'm going to do this. I don't even know how. I don't know if I have all the tools. I don't even know if I have the natural raw talent, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to see what happens. And it's sort of like the universe steps forward as your chivalrous lover to open that door for you and says, because once you make a contract with the universe, once you say, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, the universe says, okay, I'll help. Let me put a coat on you. Let me open up the door for you. Let me lay out the red carpet so that you can introduce yourself to the world in this way. Okay? This is about you moving forward. She's not looking backwards. There is no looking backwards. She's moving full speed ahead. She is not looking backwards. She's not apologizing for who she is. She's made amends with her past, but she's not going to dwell in that space. She's not going to dwell in her perceived failures. She's going to look at her achievements and what she's been able to overcome. And that's how she molds herself into this divine queen or divine king. It could be a divine king and be a feminine. Whatever was hidden from you before Divine Feminine is now being brought into the light. Again, this is happening on a worldwide scale. This is why we are feeling the collective fear. It's just, the anxiety, again, is at an all-time high. The Schumann resonance is spiking daily, I feel like. So there's been several spikes over the past few weeks. August has been really, really freaking intense. I think August has been the most electromagnetically intense month of the year. Try traveling. I don't know if you guys have traveled this month. Try traveling. It's just like a shit show. There's just, the energy is overpowering. So anyway, you know what you can trust. You know your intuition. You can trust what you're feeling. You're being guided at this time. You're being called upon to rely upon the clarity that's coming forth for you now. What you see to be true, what you know to be true, and then to share it with others. Both of these cards are about taking steps forward. Okay, this is about long-term plans, long-term developments, your future. This is the energy. You are the future. You are creating the future. We create it with every thought we have, with every word we speak. We create our future. Like just 2 seconds ago, what I just uttered 2 seconds ago is now the past. I'm in the future, and now I'm in the future, and now I'm in the future. There is no time to waste dilly-daddling about, again, flowcharts, positive, negatives. Just do it. It's the time to act. It's the time, you're literally being beckoned to the edge, to the next stage of your journey. And you're being asked to think about your long-term happiness, your long-term range goals. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Even if you can't see them, or you're like, I don't know how I could possibly get to that. You try to shred the doubt about the hows and just focus on my why, okay? Focus on the fact that transformation is very possible. Whatever you're currently going through, you're growing through. Whatever you're currently going through is leading you towards a significant manifestation. Significant manifestation. So where is that leading the divine feminine? I'm going to continue this. I'm going to do another extended reading over on Patreon. It's the all access level. It's the second tier there. I'm going to continue this extended reading over on Patreon. I also have the new moon in Virgo report, which will come out in the next few days for you guys. That new moon in Virgo is I believe it's the 27th. So it's Saturday, but I will have that report for you hopefully by the end of today. And we will then, we will look into where this is leading the divine feminine. Beautiful, beautiful. Kind of an abstract story, but I want to get a little more detailed. I want to find out exactly where she's being led and who is assisting her. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining, and hopefully see you over on Patreon.